What's up, everybody? It's me, LSP Spectrar, here in another video on Wayward Terran. We're doing another ship review. I'm super excited about this one. Check out this ship, guys. Look at those turrets move. This thing is an absolute monster. Now, before I continue on with the ship, I want to make it... Well, first off, the next ship review is going to be an even bigger ship, so look forward to that. But this ship is mostly about firepower. And we'll get into that right now. So, first off, before we get into that, I want to talk about its maneuverability. It's got some decent maneuverability. If you zoom in and you look at the front and in the back, when I rotate, you can see where the thrusters are. There are no thrusters in the middle anywhere. Now, what thrusters it does have are very minimal. I mean, it's very, very small. As you can see, there's only 2 up front, and it looks like there's about 4 in the back. We'll be able to double check that when we go in the ship. But that is very little thruster movement. So you have to be aware that when that blows up, your maneuverability is going to go down significantly because you have very little thrusters. So, but honestly, the amount of firepower that this ship is rocking completely outweighs its maneuverability, in my opinion. So, I mean, in the back, you got a decent amount of thrusters, not great. It goes into the travel drive fairly quickly. If I hit T, you can see it goes decently, but if you lose an engine, it will go even slower, so please keep that in mind. Now let's head into the ship. Now, it is very massive. Actually, before we even do that, you have a second cockpit for just some other guns. So you saw in this one, you have 4 large, heavy, I think it's the heavy turret mounts. And you go into this one, and suddenly you have a lot more. I mean, check that out. You've got 2 in the back, 2 in the middle, and 4 in the front. Now, let's talk about each one. Now, the 4 in the front and the 2 in the back can rotate 360 degrees, as you can see. With me firing, I got lots of different weapons going on here. But then you have these 2 little corner ones, which I find very unique. They only rotate in this kind of, I guess you could say, blind spot, is I guess what you could say. Now, this can be very useful for a couple reasons. One, you'll always have a position of fire for when something's coming around you fast to instantly throw some shots into it on both sides. Second, and you'll see this in a second, but this is kind of a weak spot right here. So if someone's firing a missile at you, if you put the flak turret, which I have on right now on both sides, you can try to shoot down the missile before it hits you, which you can do, by the way, if it's an actual missile, not the little rockets. But with the missile, you can actually shoot it down before it hits you. And that gives you a much quicker chance to do that. Now, as you can see, this was in a separate cockpit, but if you replace this one with this the command dot, and replace it on all the turrets, you can command all the turrets from the main cockpit. But at the same time, you can also put your NPC buddy on this turret for extra damage and precise shooting. I don't recommend this if you're trying to take down a ship, as he may continue firing past what you want him to do, which can cause you some problems of extra damage that you didn't account for your ship. Now let's get into the inside. In the front, you can see you have your turrets and your 2 thrusters. You have a wonderful amount of sensors. If I zoom out here, you've got a pretty wide spread for rocks, which is nice, and you can see your entire screen for radar of other ships. I consider this nice due to the fact that if you get damaged and you damage some of your sensors, you still have some, which can be a problem with some ships. As soon as you get damaged, you lose some sensors, and it becomes quite a hassle. Enough about that. You go into these large turrets. You've probably seen this before, but you can actually walk inside these turrets. Which brings me to another point. They've placed things fairly well in this ship in the sense that I feel like I can access I would say a good 80% of everything that I would really, really want to repair. I'd maybe even push that up to 90. So it's really nice in the design of the hallways and where things are placed to where you can repair most anything. Obviously not everything, but a lot of things. You come down here, you have 2 shield generators, and as you can see on our map, we have a very large ring of shield, which I think is a bit nicer than having it so close to the body of the ship, because that allows you in the strategy of rotating and spreading out the damage. It allows you to, I guess, neglect damage in a hole that happened. So if a hole happens right here, you don't have to turn as much to stop stuff getting into it as you would if it was more aligned with the body. I hope that made sense, but that's what I feel. You may think differently. Now, we'll talk about the power grid later. I always like to talk about the power grid, but we'll talk about it in a minute. You come down here, you have beds, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 cargo slots, which means for raiding and getting credits and money and supplies, blueprints, all the shenanigans, really, really, really useful. I really, really like that fact. It's very nice to have a large cargo capacity because that allows you to be out longer and bring more home when you get back to your station. Now, if you look at the map, we're in that little area that I told you was a weak spot. This is where the majority of your heat sinks are on these edges. That's why you kind of want to protect them more than any other part of your ship. Yes, getting damage on the other parts of the ship will cause problems, but losing these will cause you some very serious heartache. It will, as you know, it will shut down your ship. Point in case, though, when you're taking down the ship, this is where you want to aim. This will cause the ship to disable itself, essentially. Now, you could probably get away with, and for the most part, just take out one side and the ship will shut down long enough for you to dock. But if you are struggling with it, I do suggest taking out both sides, because while these are essential for the ship to run, look how close you are and how easily you can repair them. You cannot repair these ones up here. I tried. They're just a little bit too far away, unfortunately, but you can get most of them in a way to where you can get your ship running again. And we come to the back, and you see we have one big thruster in the back here, and then I'll tell you now it's mirrored exactly on the other side, so I'm just going to go on this half. You have 2 of these, 1 on each side, and 2 of these, 1 on each side. So you only have 5 thrusters total, but this big one puts out a lot of thrust, and again, it makes up its movement with the amount of damage it does. Now, if you look at the shield, it does appear to be 2 layers thick, 2 layers of shield thick, which is extremely nice in my opinion. Again, you can see we only have 2 thrusters down here on each side, which if you lose them, again, is going to be a major problem. Now, when disabling the ship, this is a big generator to go for, and just below this point where it goes flat and starts to curve in, very little protecting this generator. If you can get this to explode, man, the ship is just not going to be able to move very much. So that's a really good place to hit. And disable the ship, obviously. You can also try to make these capacitors explode, but I think this is going to be a much easier target to go for. Now, let's talk about the power grid. As you can see, it looks like you've pretty much got standalone power for each section. You got large generators down here with some medium, and as you move up, you have basically some medium turret or generators up here to power all of this, and you have a plentiful amount of capacitors. But what's unique to this ship, as to most other ships, both the engine power grid and the weapon power grid are connected. As you can see on both sides, these 2 strips of conduits, which are conveniently flashing to help show you, connect both power grids. So all the generators and those 2 large generators that are down there are, at the same time as they're powering the engines, are helping power your weapons. Now, this is good and bad. Good that you have a kind of a uniform power, so you're getting a lot of power to the things you need. Bad in the sense that if you're trying to use both continually, you're going to cause some problems of what's going to request the power first and what's going to try to prioritize once your capacitor limit is out. Now, again, you do have a good amount of capacitors, but you don't have an amazing amount. Now, what I suggest, and I think the style of ship will back me up on this, is because you have so many weapons, your need to maneuver kind of decreases, except for the occasional movement to rotate to make it so that they're hitting a different part of your shields. So for the most part, if you go into a battle, I highly suggest you just don't move a lot. Now that might seem a little bit counterintuitive for you, but I really do suggest it. For one, if you have an NPC piloting this, they're going to be very precise in the way that they shoot. Second, you will have more power to reload your guns faster. Now, if I shoot this, it has 3 shots. It's not very much, but not moving, look how fast those reload. Those are large guns. Now, it did take quite a lot of capacity, so if I'm moving and maneuvering, you're gonna get to the point where that's gonna be reloading a lot slower. And another thing to note, as soon as you start getting hit, these shield generators are gonna be running the entire time. So not only are you firing your guns and your NPC is firing all your guns, but your shield generators are taking up power. That's a lot of power, guys. And so if you add thrusters into the mix, you're going to cause yourself some very serious heartache. And so for the sake of strategy in fighting with the ship, I don't suggest moving around a lot while you're fighting. But enough about the fight style. Taking down the ship, it wasn't too bad. This is kind of the in-between ship that you get between your basic ships that you start with and the ships with lasers. Now, the next ship I will be reviewing is a large ship that does have lasers. But this is kind of the in-between. Now, as kind of a sneak peek, I took it down with not this ship. I took it down with a ship of a lower, like, underpowered ship. So let me know if you want a video about how I took it down to kind of maybe help you figure out how to do that yourself. But other than that, taking down the ship, first inclination is kind of take out these noses because you kind of think that's where the cockpit will be potentially. But I highly suggest you shoot for these sides, take out that the heat sinks. As you can see, this guy really hasn't damaged me at all, except for the time that he floated over me. And I don't want to shoot at him because I'm just going to kill him really fast with these large turrets. But yeah, that's this ship, guys. For the sake of the fact that this is the in-between ship between laser ships and the regular ships, I 100% suggest you get this ship. It is very nice, has a lot of firepower to take down those ships with heavy shields and lasers quick enough to the point where you're not going to get destroyed first. So I honestly wouldn't even consider not getting this if you don't have it when you see it. I wasn't particularly looking for a ship when I found the ship, and I immediately took the moment to try to capture this ship, despite what I was trying to do. In fact, I was in the middle of filming a video, recording a video, and I completely stopped and went for the ship. So, other than that, guys, if I left something out or misspoke and talked about a part of the ship that was wrong, please leave a comment below. I love your guys' help in making sure that my information is correct. Makes it so that we all learn the right thing. And I think it adds some great conversation in the comments. So thank you so much for all of you that are adding comments in the comment section. I much appreciate it. Other than that, guys, this has been the ship review. It's a great ship. I highly suggest you get it. I hope you enjoyed it and found it was useful. Let me know if you want me to do a video of the next ship, how I got it. I will release a ship review first, and then you can kind of decide, but maybe ahead of time you can kind of decide. And a second thing is I'm trying to cut down the length of the videos. I know this video is still kind of long. Let me know if you like that, if you like them shorter, or if you like it when I kind of get them longer and with more info. But it seems like most people prefer them with you know, less talking and shorter. So let me know what you think. Other than that, guys, I hope you're having a great day and that this video was useful. And I will see you guys next time. See ya.